While we were in seminary, part of the things we were exposed to was the larger church and some of the opportunities to serve. And one of those options was training to be a mission developer. And so whilst in seminary, I utilized that opportunity and participated in the trainings. And so my final year of study, I had lived in the Southwest Philadelphia for over 5 years during my seminary year back and forth, but I never saw this church until the night Bishop Anquist and I walked into this building. And the story is that Emmanuel has been here over 100 years, and for at least 25 years, they did not have a consistent, pastoral leadership, and they were a little bit out of the radar, is that the way to say, or outside of the radar of the Senate. So, and apparently when I was graduating, the same year they went to Bishop Anquist and said, well, we are at a place now that you either help us or we close our door. So the bishop proposed to them, well, I can send you a pastor to serve you, but you will have to allow the pastor to start a new church that he will serve, and you will host that church. And so that was the deal. So come and serve Emmanuel, but at the same time, Emmanuel will provide a space, for outreach to the predominant African immigrants that are in this area. And that was how it was worked out. So I came for the first 2 years. I served Emmanuel and reached out to the African immigrants. And that's how we started Faith Worship Center. And of course, both congregations got along. I'm very happy to say. So they got along. So we thought, instead of having two separate churches, we merged the two congregations. And so it used to be Emmanuel Lutheran Church and Faith Worship Center at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. But in 2013, it became Faith Emmanuel Lutheran Church. We brought the two congregations together.
I joined the church when it was still a mission congregation, and I joined council as one of the members of council at that point, and then I became president after we became a rostered congregation. I think it's a community that's going through transition. I believe it had been largely Caucasian up until a few years ago. The East Lansdowne borders Yeadon and Upper Darby and Lansdowne, and there's a large congregation, there's an increasing West African population moving into the community, as well as African Americans. The congregation that was here was very welcoming. They encouraged the growth in the congregation, and they encouraged the members from the mission congregation to take on roles in council and become active in the community. They actually mentored individuals. The young man who originally took on the role was the treasurer, Joe Smith. I actually worked with one of the older members in helping to reorganize the Altar Guild. So it was a transition that was, I think, one that had love and support and encouragement.
And I want to preach this message that I will repeat prayerfully on watch night. And I'm inviting you to listen and be able to invite somebody who you can bring to listen that night.
Pastor Dennis, I don't know that I've met a more, one, he's very honest, very sincere, very committed to the church. In everything he does, he shows his love for the Lord and love for the Lutheran Church. He talks about how the Lutheran Church influenced his growth. He's a genuine, sincere, very caring individual. I don't know what to say. As I said, very honest, very welcoming, very warm. A lot of people aren't from the Lutheran Church, don't have a Lutheran background. He tries to encourage and encourage them, one, to read the Bible. He has a Bible study where there are members of the congregation who actually lead that. And one of the things he did with our most recent group of new members, we had a welcoming during our anniversary celebration. We welcomed them with Bibles and information about the Lutheran Church, the Lutheran Study Bible, in fact. And Pastor Dennis met with each member as a group for several weeks before they became new members or became members, full members of the congregation. And in fact, in some cases, he had to baptize a couple of the adults when they came into the church. I came into this congregation not knowing anyone. I was welcomed immediately. The congregation used to have fellowship every Sunday, complete dinners. Not only was I welcomed, I now have people that I call family. You know, I went with Pastor Moses and a group from the church to Liberia in 2010. I don't know that it really was. I don't know that you can find a congregation that's more real and true. We celebrate the West African background through a dialect choir, and we join that in with the traditional Lutheran service. I grew up in the Lutheran church and have been absent from the Lutheran church for years. And this church really helped me come back into the Lutheran church.